Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Cloud with mohsin. I hope you are doing fantastic. So, in this presentation, we are going to deep dive into AWS organizations. So, AWS organization is a service from Amazon Web Services, that is AWS, and this service will help us to manage multiple AWS account under a single entity. Okay. So, in this presentation, we will also explore what are the benefits, key features of AWS organization, and we will also see how this service will help us to manage the cloud resources and have a better cloud governance using the AWS organization. So let's get started. First of all, I will go through this PPT, and then I will share the AWS management console so that you will understand what is basically AWS organization, and whatever we covered in the theoretical part will be you will be able to correlate that when we will do the in the screen sharing. Okay. Now I will just quickly cover what will be the agenda. So in the agenda of the today's session will be, we'll first see obviously introduction to the AWS organization, what are its benefits, its key features, its use cases, and after that we will switch to the policies in the AWS organization. So why I covered the policies here in this PPTs, because it is very important, not in terms of AWS awareness, but also if you are preparing for the exam. So the policies are very important. So hence I have covered. So we have mainly there are two types of policies. One is service control policies, in short that is called as SCP. Another is management policy. So management policies again subdivided into three policies, which are AI services, opt-out policies, backup policies, tag policies, and finally we will summarize whatever we discuss in this session. So before going into this PPT or this session, I would recommend you please watch my earlier video where we have covered what is IAM role, groups, policies, and everything about IAM I had covered in the previous session. So I will share the link in the description. You can watch it and then you can jump to this session so that you can understand what are the different policies overall in the AWS. Okay. Now let's get started with what is AWS organization. So in very simplest terms, what is AWS organization is? AWS organization is an account management service. Okay. It will help us to manage or consolidate multiple AWS accounts into an organization and centrally manage accounts for improved governance. So you can say you have multiple accounts, say 10 or 20 or whatever it may be the number of accounts. So you can create a hierarchy using AWS organization, and you can manage all those accounts centrally instead of managing those accounts individually. So AWS organization will give you kind of a centralized dashboard where you can manage all those accounts very easily and very efficiently. Okay. So this is about quick introduction to the AWS organization. Now let us understand what are the benefits of AWS organizations. Improved governance, standardized policies and configurations across accounts. Okay, what does this mean? So we can say your organization is having some some guidelines or standard policies. So you want to apply all those standard policies across the accounts. Okay, all accounts. You can go to AWS organization, and this will help us to improve the governance as per your organization standard. Enhance security. It will enforce security best practices and restricts access. So, in the introduction, we discussed about SCP, that quick, a reference to SCP. So, SCP is nothing but the service control policy that will help us to give what is the maximum permission that is allowed for that particular resources or IAM rules. Okay, so that will help us to get the enhanced security. Simplified billing. It manages bills for all accounts centrally. So you have 10 accounts. Instead of having individual bills for all 10 accounts, we can, in the AWS organization, it will help us to manage the bills. And there is another benefit related to the simplified billing is the cost optimization. So it will help us to identify and eliminate the unused resources, and we can also get some group level of discount when we go for the AWS organization. So that is another benefit of using AWS organization. Now let us switch and talk about key features of AWS organization. Account management is one of the features, so we can create new accounts or invite existing AWS account. That we'll see when we switch to the console view. Okay, in a while. So organization units, OU, that's organization units. We can also in short call as OU. So it is something you can group. Say you have similar accounts. Okay, so we can create a group of those OU. Say you have 10 accounts under your production. Okay, so you can group logically group those all production accounts into one entity, that is called as organization unit. Say you have sandbox accounts, then you can create an organization unit and apply the policy at the OU level. I hope you got it. SCP, that is called as service control policy, as we discussed. So if we can set the policies at the root level or the organization level. Okay. So that is another key feature. And the tags, so tags you can say, uh, we can categorize and filter accounts for easier management. So we also have some tag based policy, so we can apply some tags, and based on that we can categorize and filter account for the better management. Now let's see what are the use cases of the AWS organization. Multi-department organization, isolate resources and enforce policies. Okay, so this is very important use case. Say in your organization you have multiple departments. Okay, so say so you have HR department or say finance department, etc., and those all departments can isolate the resources. Okay, so in that case the AWS organization is very important. Development, staging, and production environment. Separate environments for different stages of the production development lifecycle. We are aware. So there is, in the development lifecycle we have some say development phase, staging phase, then production phase. There are different phases. In that case, we can have this benefit of using AWS organization. Disaster recovery in your account or in your organization. Say if you have disaster recovery, so using this AWS organization, we can isolate the accounts for backup and replication. Okay, so these are some of the use cases, and in real world AWS organization is used vitally. Okay, so there are lots of worldwide use of AWS organization, and there are many companies uses AWS organization so that they can manage and make use of. This is very powerful tool. Okay, now I will just switch to the policies. What are the different policies in the AWS organization? So, as we had discussed in the introduction topic, we have mainly there are two main type of policies. One is service control policy, that is SCP, and another is management policy. So, SCP will define the maximum permission for IAM users and roles within your organization's account. So, it will define, say, what is the maximum permission that is an IAM user or role is allowed. Okay, then management policies is something that we can centrally manage various aspects of AWS environment across accounts. So there are subcategories as well in the management policies that we can cover in the next slides. Now let's talk about SCP in detail. SCP defines maximum permissions for IAM users roles within your organization's account. They essentially set guardrails. So there are some called as guardrails. These are the entities, and these entities mainly see it is very important with respect to security perspective. Okay, so it will ensure the account stay within your organization access control guidelines. So say your organization has some guidelines, and guardrail will ensure that it's aligned with your organization's guidelines. So SCPs can be attached either to the root level or organization level or individual accounts. So, okay, so say we have an account, a separate account, we can apply to that, or a group of account that is called as organization unit. We can attach the policies to that or to the root accounts. Okay. Let's talk about management policies. So the management policy these encompass a broader view set of policy that allows you to centrally manage various aspects. So it's mainly with respect to the management of different say with respect to different applications. You can say that there are mainly three subtypes of management policies. One is AI services opt-out policies, backup policies, and tag policy. So what is AI services opt-out policy? Many of you will be aware there are some AWS AI services as well. There's a, you can say some offering from AWS like Bedrocks. Uh, there's some code whisperer is another service. These are with respect to artificial intelligence offering from the AWS. So when we talk about AI services opt-out policy, that controls data collection for AWS AI services across all of them. That is related to AI. With the name, you can get to know what is this one. Backup policy, it centrally manages and apply backup plans to your resources. And tag policies is something you can say standardize the tags attached to the resources across account. So now I have just quickly covered all the theoretical session. Now I will switch to AWS Management Console so that I can show you how it works in a real life scenario. As you can see, I have moved to AWS Management Console, and you can go to services. You can switch to management and governance, and under that management and governance you will see AWS organization, and it is mentioned central governance and management across AWS account. Let me click on this one. Yeah, so this will be the first page or home page. And in your case, say if you are not configured that can be, this view will be different in your case. So this is kind of hierarchy. You can say it is root. At the top we have OU1 security and my account cloud with mohsin, and there is tag as management account. So management account is nothing but it is an initial account where we started with AWS activities. So this is the initial account. This is my management account. Hence it is tagged as management account. Okay. Now here on your right you can say add an AWS account. Okay, if say I want some accounts to my AWS organization, I need to click on add AWS account. It gives two options: create an AWS account or invite an existing AWS account. So it means you can create a new account here and add it from here itself. Otherwise, if you have already an account and it is not part of organization, you can invite it. Okay. So here say if I want to create a new account and add it to organization, I need to give, as you can say, AWS account name. Let me give some name like sandbox01, email address of accounts owner. So please note this is very important. Okay, the email address that we specify, it should be it should be a unique, or it should not be used earlier in your AWS, because I'll just show you why. The reason, if we use the existing, like say if I use the existing account that I'm using with my management account, this existing email address, so my request will get failed. So it should be an email which is not used so far. Okay, please note that. IAM role, this is the management account can use this IAM role to access resources in the member account. So by default, it uses organization account access role. You don't need to do anything, it will get created automatically. We can specify the names, tags, and we know we can add up to 50 tags here. Okay, I don't want to do that, and I'm not going to add it. Just for your reference, I'm just showing you. If say we want to invite an existing AWS account, I can switch to this button, invite one or more existing AWS account to join your organization. Here we either can specify email address or account ID of AWS account to invite. Say in my case, say where you will find the account ID, you can click to here and you can get this is the account ID. Okay, so you can add type here or paste it here, and you can click on add another account. Okay, so you can have the multiple AWS accounts in organization. Any message that is optional and tag. And once we add all those values, we can click on send invitation. So there will be an invite that will be sent over the email, okay, of that particular account. and that will state, okay, you can this is the invitation and you can either accept it or review that. Okay, so that now I will just go back to database account. And the reason I was telling you, see, you can see that two requests to create AWS organization have failed in last 90 days. So there are two requests that were failed, that I had requested so far. I'll just show you what is the reason. This is the account name that I had given, and failure reason, you can see email already exists. So I was trying to use the emails which I used earlier, and because of that, that request to add the account was getting failed. So there were two accounts that failed. Just since I mentioned, please ensure you are using an email which is not used so far. Okay, I hope you got it. Once that is done, you can see this is hierarchy. Okay, now invitation, we talked about accounts invitation. Okay, and this is the root sits at the top. Okay, so you can see this is a tree view on hierarchy. Okay, this I have OU1, that is organization unit, and security. If I just, so this is an organization unit. Okay, you can say it is, collection of there are some other uh, accounts inside that. So under security, so these are by default created. So I have, these are not created by me. When you enable this one, so security, audit, log are required. So it will create, gets created by default. Okay. Cloud with Mohsin is my account. As you can click here and you can see the details about my account. Okay. And if I click on policies, here you can see there are two policies. Okay, there are two policies that has full AWS access and full AWS access again. So one is attached directly, another is inherited from root. So what does this mean? See, when your account is your management account, you will get the full AWS access. That is one thing. Okay, and my root level, say root level as well, and this is inherited from root, because it means if you have something on the top and you apply the policies to the top, it gets inherited to the following accounts. Okay, in case of AWS server, so hence it is showing inherited from root. Okay, so that is, if I want, I can detach this one which is attached directly, but one that is inherited, you can see, and there is no button to detach. Okay, so by default it gets inherited on the root. Now I will just switch back to database accounts. Okay. Let me go to services. Services, you can see you can configure supported AWS services to perform actions in AWS organization. So these are, there are different services for which you can enable trusted access. Okay, so these are basically some of the services you can see, and those services here, these are showing as access disabled. Okay, these are the trusted services, and there is a note, it shows we recommend that you do not enable trusted access with AWS service here. Instead, use other AWS services console to enable and disable trusted access to AWS services. It means, see, we right now it is showing as access disabled. Suppose I want to enable Amazon Detective. Okay, I can come here and click on enable, but that is not recommended. Okay, instead of that, what it is saying is you can go to Amazon Detective service separately in the AWS, and from there you can enable it. Okay, so that is the way that we can enable the different services which we can use with the AWS organization. Okay, now I will move to policies, and this is very important as we had covered in the PPT as well. So there are two types of policies: service control policies and management policies. Okay, here you can see SCP, that is service control policies, enabled, and all the other three are disabled. But it doesn't mean that I am not able to enable it. See, if I want to enable backup policies or tag policies, I can just click on that one and I can click on enable tag policy. Okay, so by default everything will be disabled. Even the service control policy was disabled, but I had to go here and click on enable. Now right now you can see it is disable service control policy, because I have enabled it, hence it is showing as enable. So these are different policies. As we see, AI services opt-out policy. This is basically for artificial intelligence AI services. Okay, backup policy is basically for if you want to deploy backup plans. Okay, and tag policies when you want to standardize the tags. So that is for that. I will just explore the service control policies, and this is very important. Okay, so SCPs as let me just zoom it out a bit. See, yeah, SCP it enables central administration over maximum permissions that identifies users and roles within accounts in your organization can have. This helps ensure that your identities stay within organization access control guidelines. Okay, I'll just click on this one. You can see we can either create a new policy, or there is button action button, and there are already two policies I have. It's one that we already seen, it is full AWS access, and that is AWS management policy that is attached directly. Okay, because this is the management account. And another is there is another policy that talks run T2 micro EC2 instances. So let me click on this one, and you can see this is the policy. See, this is SCP, and it is showing as customer policy because this has been enabled by me. So what is the description? This SCP policy will allow to run API action to restrict running EC2 instances of T2.micro type only. In a simple way, see, this is the policy. Okay, what does this the policy will do is, say if you want to run EC2 instances, so if I have this policy attached in that particular account where okay we are trying to run EC2 instances or launch on new EC2 instances, if EC2 instance is of the type T2.micro, then only it will enable you to launch it. Say if you are launching some T3.micro, or say C4.large, anything apart from T2.micro, it won't allow you if that SCP has been attached. Okay, so that is a very simple simplest meaning of this policy. And if we go back, we can select this button and go to actions and delete this policy. Okay, and if I want to attach this policy system another account as well, I can click on attach policy. And this is the most important, what I like about this or AWS organization SCP. See, if I want this at the root level, I can attach this, and you can see all these three are got selected because this gets inherited. Okay, if I just want to the security this one, then you can see by default it will get selected. So whatever I will select and attach, the policy gets attached to all accounts. Okay, let me just remove this. And if I want an individual account, that is my management account. Okay, so one thing to notice, see, we cannot apply any policy to the management account. I will show you what is the reason. See, if I want that policy to be attached to cloud with mohsin, that management account, let me select that, and there is a button here to attach this policy. You will see failed to attach the policy run T2.micro to one target account. Okay, and what is the error is, you can apply SCP to only member accounts in an organization. They have no effect on users on roles. They have no effect on users or role in the management account. So SCPs do not affect the management account. This is the meaning of this one. Okay, so say if I have another account, another OU suppose, and if I attach to that one, that particular account, if someone is trying to launch the EC2 instances apart from T2.micro, would be able to do that. But it is not going to work with the management account. This is the initial account where I started working with the AWS. Okay, so SCPs do not affect the management account. That is the thing you should understand. So let me just cancel this out. Okay, as it got failed. So so we just go back to service control policy, and we can create new policies as well. Okay, we can create some different policies here, and we can choose the whatever the service that should be there. So that's a very important service, that SCP. So I believe, see, this is one of the most important policy or most powerful policy, we'll say, in terms of AWS. We can also disable if I don't want, and it will also have some questions. Say, what about you have an IAM policy in the AWS that allows you to run the okay, let's talk about this only. Run T2.micro. Okay, what this policy will do is it will allow you to run the EC2 instances of type T2.micro only. Okay, if there is anything apart from that, it will be disabled, or you will be getting error that it's not allowed. And you might have a question, okay, what if you have an IAM role that you can launch IAM policy, IAM role that you can launch any other, any all type, all sort of EC2 instances, and at the same time you have this SCP applied, which is not allowing to launch you EC2 instances apart from tutorial.micro. What will be the result? So the result will be, see, SCP, if you have applied at the account level, so SCP will override your IAM policies or that resource policy. It means even though you have all policies or all policies to run your particular resources, but if that is restricted in the SCP, then SCP will supersede and you won't be able to perform that particular action. So SCP sits at the top, and your IAM policies and all those other policies will be below that. So it will be, SCP is the most powerful thing, as just you can understand. So you can just explore. This is very interesting that I noticed. Okay, so you can explore the things, what are the SCP and what are the policies. Okay, what is AWS account? You can try to account the new AWS account in the organization, and you can let me know if you are facing any issues or any errors. So friends, that's it for today. I hope this session was useful, and thank you so much for your time. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to your YouTube channel. It's Cloud with Mohsin. And thank you so much for watching. Take care.